Hello mathematicians. This separate video is going to be for what you're doing when you're at home. And it's very similar to what you're doing when you're at school. You're just obviously at a different spot and you don't have me coming in to check in with you. But you're still doing the same thing. So you'll sit down at your workstation, which I suggest be somewhere away from where you usually are, so it can feel like you're separated from your home life and kind of your schoolwork life. Either way, you'll open your laptop and you'll go to Google Chrome. Then you'll sign into the Google Classroom. And let's say you're in Red Block. Within the first 10 minutes of class, because you're going to be following the same schedule as the people that are in school and in the different cohort, what I need you to do is do the daily attendance. That shows me that you're at home and you're working. It's just a form that you click and you fill in your first name and your last name, and then you hit submit. That reports your attendance for the day, and that way I can record it down to make sure that you've done your math for the day. Okay? Then you're going to pretend, just like you usually do, that you're in math class, right? So, different environment, but you're actually going to be doing the same thing. Working through the lessons like you'll see in the video for when you're at school. There are only a couple differences. One of which is that I'm not there to help you. So if you have any questions on either the practice problems or the notes that you're taking, or you're waiting to move on to show me the on your own problems that you're doing in the notes, those things are going to have to wait until you're actually in school. You can email me a question, but it's possible that I might not get back to you in time. That's really the only difference between when you're at home and when you're at school. Either way, you're going to need all of your resources. So you've got your interactive notebook, you've got your scissors, your glue stick, okay? You've got all of your handouts, and homework is going to work the same way too. So if you're on practice, just like the other video says, you're still going to take a picture with your camera, okay, on your phone, or by putting it up to the phone on your laptop and snapping a picture. That's how you're going to be turning in your assignment. Make sure you watch the other video so you know what to do when you're in school, which explains further about the process when you're at home as well. Because they're both so similar, I'm not going to make two different videos. See you soon, mathematicians. Welcome back, mathematicians. So let's go over the exact expectations for when you come into school. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that I have my mask on and you have your mask on when you enter the room. Afterwards, you're going to enter the room and you're going to go to your assigned seat. Now the do now is almost always going to be to open your laptop and check your daily goal calendar. So let's talk about that. You walk in, you sit down, you open up your laptop, and you're going to open Google Chrome. You'll see that I have a bunch of bookmarks and a bunch of my history up here. But what I want you to do is go to classroom.google.com. And let's say that you're in the red math class. The first thing you're going to want to do is check your goal calendar. That's under classwork and under goal calendar. You'll notice that I filled out September, and we already started last week with some getting to know you activities. Monday is the 21st is when we're going to start curriculum. Curriculum, it goes lesson by lesson by lesson. Before we actually write a goal, let's take a look at what the curriculum is. One way to get there is to go back to Google Classroom. Let's take a look at the stream and go to Mr. Roulette's Bitmoji Virtual Classroom. Now I have one for 7th grade math, one for accelerated 7th grade math. Let's do the regular standard 7th grade math. You'll see the do now here says check your goal calendar. We already started doing that, but we paused for a minute to take a look at this. You'll see here it says unit timeline. This is the timeline of all of the lessons and skills you'll learn for the whole year, from units 1 through unit 8. Unit 1 should take you between September to October to complete. It has 6 lessons. Lesson number 5 is particularly time consuming. Since you're just starting, go back to your math calendar, which we have saved here. And since we're just starting, we're going to put start lesson 1 adding integer notes. And you can write whatever you want here, okay? But that was the sample goal that I gave you. Once you've started that, you want to look for lesson 1. That's conveniently located under classwork, unit 1, and then lesson 1. You'll notice that it has several parts. So let's read the directions. It says, in this lesson, you will learn how to add positive and negative integers using different models, including integer chips and vertical horizontal number lines. The practice is on textbook page 73, numbers 1 through 24 odd. It says, note, you will do the practice on lined or graph paper, something other than your interactive notebook. Then take a picture of it and upload it to turn in the assignment. We'll go over that a little bit later. First, let's talk about the notes. This one here says model integers multiple ways with integer chips. This is just an example video on how to do that. After that, you're gonna watch my created video, which you can either watch through YouTube or through here on the assignment. If you watch it through YouTube, you can subscribe to my website so you can see any new videos that I create. Either way, as you go through, you're going to see that I'm doing the exact notes that I want you to write. So you're going to have your notebook handy, because after you finish you start your table of contents, okay, you'll notice that I've got the same notes that you're going to end up having. Okay, so you're pretty much just like a regular classroom, taking the notes that I'm taking on the board, except in this case the board is a pre-made video. Sometimes there are handouts for you to cut out. Okay, I've given you those handouts at the beginning of each unit. If for whatever reason you couldn't find the handouts, they are in the Bitmoji Classroom. All you have to do is look at this virtual file cabinet. Since you're in Unit 1, you can click Unit 1, and here are all the handouts you'll need for each lesson and for every lesson in the first unit. Once you're done with the notes, towards the end, there'll be problems that I ask you to do on your own. When you finish these problems, down here in the corner for the first lesson, when you finish those problems, you would raise your hand and you'd ask the teacher in the room to check your answers so that they can make sure you understand what you're doing and you're ready to move on to the practice. That's how we take notes. So for notes, you're going to need your interactive notebook, okay, colored pencils, or the red and the blue double-sided pencil that were provided. And you'll need scissors and glue sticks. Now let's say that we earmarked, as you can see, lesson 1, adding integer notes, for Monday, Tuesday, and finishing on Wednesday. But let's say that you did all that in one day. Then I can delete all 3 of these things. And I can say that my goal for today was to complete lesson 1 notes. That means that you've done it faster than I expected you to, and that you're soon going to be able to move on to the next lesson and the next lesson and so on. So you're working at your own pace, okay? Not necessarily a pace that I set for you, and not necessarily a pace that everyone in the class is at. You can either go as slow or as fast as you want to. That's why you have your own individual goal calendar. This is going to tell you and myself where you are at any current time. Now let's take a look at what the practice looks like, because you'll see that we earmarked for Thursday that you were going to be working on the practice, but really, let's say that's on Tuesday. We'll go back to the lesson. It says that the practice is page 73, numbers 1 through 24, odds. You notice that there's an answer key, but we're not going to use that until the end. So the question is, how do you get the textbook? Because we're in a pandemic at the moment, I can't give you a real textbook. I also can't collect papers from you, such as the homework that you would turn in or the practice that you would turn in. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to ClassLink and use the online textbook. There are a couple ways to get there. ClassLink I have bookmarked here. If you don't want to go there, it's also in my Bitmoji classroom. Whether you're in 7th grade math or you're in accelerated, so I can use a trapdoor, go back to accelerated, I can click here to go to ClassLink. Then I would sign in. And what you're looking for is Holt McDougall My HRW. You're going to click that, and you'll see that you have access to only a certain number of books. Because I'm the teacher, I have access to most of them. You're going to click C2 Volume A. You notice that there are plugins that you need. Google comes equipped with a lot of plugins, but one they block is Flash by default. Unfortunately, this textbook uses Flash, so if you try to click around on things, it's not going to work until you allow it. Once you finish the allow, click away, and then you'll have to refresh the page. Now we can go to book pages, or if you want, you can select the chapter, okay, and then eventually the section number. But since we know that we want page 73, we can just type in 73, and there's the practice problems. So when you're at school, you're going to have your laptop up. You'll be able to see the problems on the screen, and you're going to have a piece of paper, line paper or graph paper, and you're going to do solving these problems. Now to show your work, you're going to write out the problem and then write out your answer. You're not just going to put the answer. Okay, so I want to see your whole work. When you're finished with the practice, you'll go back to classwork. And since I have the teacher version, I don't see the student version, but usually you have a turn in section on the upper right hand side. in order to turn in your homework assignment this year, I can't collect it. Anything I collect has to take 6 days to desanitize, or I should say sanitize. And then I would be able to collect it and go over it. But I can't wait 6 days to make sure that you understand how to add integers. So what you're going to do is use your phone, okay, to take a picture of your work, and then you can use the Google Classroom app to upload that picture and turn in your assignment. Alternatively, you can use a lined piece of paper. Let's say you did your work here, and you can use your Chromebook to take pictures of it, or your laptop. The problem with this is usually the cameras on phones are much better than the cameras on laptops. So it can be difficult for us to see all of your work and all of your answers if you choose to do it that way. What might happen is that we might come to you the following day that you're in school and ask to see your work again, just to see if there are any misunderstandings we couldn't see. Now I got a little bit ahead of myself because I already said I turned in the assignment, right? But first, I wanted to check my answers. I have the answers right here for lesson 1. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to correct it myself. And at the top, I'm going to say how many I got wrong and how many I got right. For example, let's say that I got them all right. So I'd put 13 out of 13. If I got half of them right, okay, I can put 7 out of 13. It's close to half. Once you're finished with lesson 1, you can go back to your Go calendar and say that you completed lesson 1. If you did lesson 1 all on Monday, even the practice, you can say completed lesson 1 notes and practice. And then you're ready for your new goal on Tuesday, which is probably going to be to say start lesson 2 notes. Then what you would do is simply go from lesson 1, classwork, you completed lesson 1, so you move on to lesson 2, which has its own set of instructions. You're going to do this throughout the class for all 8 units. When you're in class, the teacher, myself, or any other teachers in the room are going to be walking around to help you. We're going to be coaching you through the curriculum. So you're getting instruction through a video, and that's how you're taking notes. The teacher in the classroom is using that FaceTime to help you with individual problems, okay, or allowing you to work with other students in a collaborative way on the practice problems you're given. So even though it says practice problems and you're turning it in for homework, I allow you to work with somebody. Now that's hard to do when you're 6 feet apart, but there are some ways around that. You could create a document so you can chat to each other. You can whisper to each other across the room. Or, if you have another idea, me and you can talk it out. It's a little bit of a different story at home, because you can just call them and talk to them on speakerphone, and you can work out the problems together. Either way, though, you're going to be turning in your own assignment, even though you may be working with somebody else. So you'll see that I created goals for you, and you can change those goals if you're working faster or if you're working slower. What I usually do at the beginning of every class is I walk around and check in with everybody on what their goal is. And you're simply going to tell me, today I'm doing starting lesson 1, adding integers notes. Tomorrow, if you have finished this one, you would say lesson 1, adding integers notes continued. Or, like we just talked about, if you finished it all on Monday, then you're starting the new lesson on Tuesday. Wednesdays, starting next week, are going to be for group projects. This is a chance for you to collaborate with people that are in a different cohort. And I think that's going to be definitely a productive time for you. For now, it seems like you should have everything ready to go and get started on creating your goal calendar, setting your first goal for Monday, and then beginning lesson 1 by watching the video. So I'll see you in the video. Bye, mathematicians.